everyone. We're here with a brand new podcast, brand new name, but same two gals, Jasmine and Vivian.
I'm the Jasmine part of that part.
Yeah, I am the Vivian part, and we're still here to talk about all things nerdy, superhero, Marvel, DC. With the new name, we're now the Earth 118 podcast, so...
That's it? It's just the Earth 118 podcast? You had like a whole bit! What happened to the bit?
I did, and then I panicked! No, we're here to chit-chat about all things Earth 118, which is just all of the things that we want to talk about in the nerdy universe.
Yes, and though it has a quintessential Marvel essence to it, we do want to be very clear that we're talking about everything. It's just a combination of both mine and Vivian's birthdays, so it's all the things that we love jam-packed into one beautiful podcast.
Yes.
And today we're talking about the glorious, the magnificent, the effervescent, and gloriously green She-Hulk.
Cause you didn't ask for this, but you still gotta deal with it. Your transformations are triggered by anger and fear.
Those are like the baseline of any woman just existing.
Oh.
Bruce, kind of feels like if I don't transform, I'm gonna die.
Yes.
Those are some rich words.
Thank you. I am expensive.
Okay. I'm not gonna cash in those words yet. I'm gonna stick with my normal people words on the episode titled "A Normal Amount of Rage," which is She-Hulk episode 1.
Amount of rage. I like that title, and I really like this entire episode. It's interesting. There's so many people who dislike this episode.
Yeah,
because they felt like it was anti-man, and I find that so laughable because throughout this entire episode, even the title being a normal amount of rage, it's true. We, as women, have to go through a significant amount of dumbing down our emotions, as she said, so as to not appear like a bitch or emotional or X, Y, and Z. And so I think it's a very apt title of a normal amount of rage because, throughout every day, we are significantly pissed. I mean, and I know I'm going on a tangent a little bit right now, but yesterday...
That's the whole point of the episode.
Right, but yesterday I was downtown in my Spidey suit doing my photo or doing a whatever, and at the start, the first half, I was in the MJ top, the Spider-Man heart and jeans, but then I had to walk back to my car, which was like 2 blocks away, change into my Spidey outfit, and now I'm in this skin-tight leotard walking down the street back to where the photo shoot was, and the amount of people who came in front of me just like stopped me or tried to grab me or like shouted at me as if I had to stop and talk to them and got pissed at me if I didn't respond back. Like, it was just absurd, but I can't even say absurd because it is an everyday thing and we just have to bottle our emotions, because if I turned around and friggin' snapped at them, it would cause a bigger confrontation. I'd be like, well, you're just such a bitch. I'm a bitch if I do and I'm a bitch if I don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
the daily struggle.
Normal amount of rage.
It's the norm for a lot of women, if not all women.
All women
across the world. And
all women, all identifying women, every turn of the phrase of women or women identifying. It's just or even those that look like a woman. Like, it's just very frustrating the amount of energy that we have to do just to exist.
Yeah. Which is, and when I was looking up reviews for the TV show as well, most of the negative ones were coming from men. Like, I purposely was checking the names too, and then a lot of the uplifting positive ones were women, which is crazy because this first episode, because I've gotten to see at least 4 episodes so far.
Little brag, but okay.
No, but that's to
how
say
the turn tab
table, because usually you are the one who has seen up to 4 episodes. Anyway, no, like, this episode was barely touching the surface of addressing those issues and that problem that a lot of men feel kind of obligated to make those comments towards women, and women kind of just have to deal with it. So the fact that so many men are
obligated, that's such a unique word to choose, that men are obligated, like it's their God-given right, if you're religious, to say those things. They're obligated.
No, it feels like men feel obligation over women a lot of the time, which I feel like we saw that even in this episode in the beginning when Jennifer is sharing her like speech or the case that she's giving, and then the guy was just like, I mean, I think it would sound better coming from me. Like, I'm sure in his head he felt obligated to say that because he is a man, and it sucks having to deal with that, especially in the workplace.
It's interesting. I saw a TikTok the other day, kind of a tangent, kind of not, but on the idea of men are obligated to outperform, be better, be superior, whatever derogatory in this feels term you want to use. But it was a TikTok of way back in the 1600s, and a guy runs up to his wife who's in the fields, and he holds up a book, and he goes, "Oh, I'm just gonna call it Twilight because it's the first book that pops in my head." He's like, "Oh, I just finished this book, Twilight," or "I just finished this book," and the wife turns and is like, "Oh, Twilight, that was such a great book, I love that." And he's like, "What do you mean you like that? Who taught you how to read, you witch?" And it's like anything to put you down. And so then he goes, to try to fix it. She's like, "No, I swear, no one taught me, no one taught me." He's like, "All right, answer this. What's 2 + 2? Answer it correct or else." And she was like, 4. And of course he freaks the frick out because he's like, "Who taught you math, you witch?" And it's like a whole of men. The joke being that men have always, from no matter what time you're in, men have always felt superior, and if a woman is equal or above, it's threatening. Even going back to She-Hulk, Bruce, I'm in new territory now. No, you're pissed. Like, he even said it himself. Luckily, he's into his emotion, but the fact that Jennifer is a smart Hulk version and there's not another entity inside of her, it pissed him off. It was very frustrating.
Which I understood where his frustration came from, because he spent literally years doing this research on
15 years.
15 years, which is a lot of time to have a syllabus created. So I understand why Bruce would be frustrated that she doesn't want to necessarily follow the research that he has created. But also there's that line of, okay, it's very clear that she did not react to this the same way he did, but she needs to follow the specific guidelines that he has set already, because
Why?
that's all he knows. Why?
Why is it that I have to follow what you do? And why is it that your way to express it over what I want? Simply because you did it first. Just men. And it's not, it should not be an anti-anything kind of show. It should just be through the looking glass. You get to see a woman's perspective of how it feels like to be in a male-dominated, even though nothing is really male-dominated anymore. But you're in a situation where you have the opportunity to see how women feel, and instead you're like, "Nah, I don't care. It's anti-men. I don't want to worry about that."
And a lot of the time, shows that try to kind of include that message of showcasing women's struggles in that regard, sometimes I will admit that it comes off as cringy, or it comes off as like, okay, this is a little bit too much, like, in your face. But with this show, I didn't feel like that at any point. A lot of the time I was like, yeah, that's how it feels. That's how I would react. That's what I would say. So it's very relatable in a not so cringy way. And it sucks that
you are in a very unique position, and again, a position that I am used to being in, that you have more information than this podcast episode will allow you to. Yes, the Debbie Ryan behind the ear. Yeah, you have more information, and so it's interesting the things that you say, because I'm like, oh, so there are more occasions, because I would totally get that too if they're milking that feminism, women's rights. Like, I get it. I know that is a thing, and we all understand that, but what else? What more is there? And we've got both a female heroine and a female villain in this show. We were introduced to the villain right at the end of the episode. So it is going to be, for me, who really doesn't like that derivative women power all day long. Like, I get the message. I got it in the first episode. So it will lose me if they try to drill me with that every day, because women we care about more things than one thing,
Yeah. It is, this isn't spoiler, but it is, I think this show is almost driven by that, but not in a way where it's like milking it and pushing it in your face. But maybe, I also don't know if I felt that way because I saw these episodes back to back to back, so it just felt like one cohesive thing. But even then, I think that the satire and the comedy aspect of it kind of helps kind of deliver those the different. I'm trying not to say anything specific, deliver those messages though. But speaking of it being a comedy, I really like that this approach is taking more of a sitcom angle.
Is the only reason you're saying it's a sitcom angle is because she's breaking the fourth wall? Because I didn't get sitcom this at all.
No, I thought maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because
It's okay. You're allowed to have
maybe it's just because I've seen more though, is what I'm saying. But now I know how you feel all of a sudden.
I'm just but when I hear sitcom, I get what you're saying, but it's got the laugh track behind it. It's got it's got the third or fourth wall breaks. I hear what you're saying. I just disagree because it still has very serious elements in it. I mean, we got the Cap Piffer stands very happy in this episode because we now know he's not a virgin, which is fun for us. It gives us hope again. It gives us hope. There is a cat. You cannot tell me that in the multitude of multiverses, there ain't one slutty Cap out there. You're not gonna sit there and tell me that. You're not gonna tell me that.
We went from non-virgin Cap to just full-on slutty Cap.
A hoe. There is a hoe for show out there, and I'm telling you, if you thought that Steve Rogers' ass was tight, slutty McCapin fries, that shit is painted on. Okay, he's fighting with a shield and spandex.
We've got BBL Cap out there somewhere.
God, BBL Cap, man. Thick
boy.
Eddie Hoodle. I'm sorry, shehulk, feminism, women's rights.
That everything you just said falls under that category.
Okay. I just had to make sure. Whew. Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have much to. This was a very filler episode. Not filler, but
It's episode 1. What do you mean filler
I'm
episode? It showed how she became She-Hulk.
I did not mean filler. That was wrong. I meant an introductory. So we just got to know everyone. So it was kind of a cookie cutter episode for me. It was okay. This is where I am. This is what I will say. They changed the comics. I don't know if you know that, but I guess, let's move the shit along. Fine. Okay, cool. So that was the only thing. Go ahead.
I had this conversation with a friend afterwards of of course at this point, film and TV, they're going to stray away from the original source material in order to tell the story they want to. And so many people at first...
We've already established that it's not the same universe. The Marvel 616 and the comic book universe, they're two different universes. That has been established.
Yes, and that's I fully agree, and that's what I'm saying, but it just sucks that so many people are fully expect to see the same source material repeated again and translated.
Just at me next time, okay? It'll be easier. Just at me next time, because that was a direct call out at me. Yeah, sometimes I would like it, because the problem therein, my dear sweet co-host, is that you're you're teasing me. You're telling me, you're literally looking at me and telling me, this is the comic book, and I say yes. And you're like, I love this. I'm going to use this. And I'm like, great. I would love you to use that. Please use it. And you're like, I'm going to use this comic book. And I'm like, okay, you said it. You said you're going to use the comic book. And then they show it's not there. And I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, I looked at it. I glanced.
And Miss Marvel is actually a mutant.
She's actually a mutant. But I used your comic book as a drink stand holder. So
Okay, yes. And I am person too who goes into these shows and movies also expecting to see what I know. But I'm saying I am also a person who is adapting and learning.
If you put your hair behind your ear one more time, I will drive the 46 minutes to your house and rip that side off.
Have you ever considered that maybe my hair just keeps falling into my face? And so I have to shove it behind my ear?
Don't own a Bobby's pin?
Bobby's pin?
Yes, Bobby's pin. Who's Bobby?
Dude, that's a walk away, and I'm not gonna make that walk. Anyway, all that to say, that it's at this point now, given everything that happened with Ms. Marvel and then She-Hulk, which strays away from how she became She-Hulk, I have been like, okay, you know what? Yes, this works for the story we're telling. This works to move the story along, like you said earlier. So I'm not going to argue with it. That's all I was trying to say is I'm not going to complain about that. But it is okay if you are unhappy with it.
I'm not unhappy. Who said I was unhappy?
I'm not saying you. I mean the people
well, you
in
said
general.
you meant
Our
the
listeners.
royal we. My apologies. The royal we.
Everyone, if you are upset by that or unhappy with it, what you were expecting is to go a different route, then that's okay. But I think that's kind of the method that they're going with, just like taking these characters, tweaking them for something that's new, and introducing you to someone who is same but also new.
Yeah.
Same but also different. Yes.
We'll see. I mean, it gives them much more leeway to play, so they're not constrained by what their audience wants. Hence her touching, like, she was supposed to be damn near dying in the comics. She was on her deathbed, and it was a choice that Bruce made, not her. And so maybe that was too much of a male-dominated choice. I guess maybe.
I guess with her. Oh well, it was Bruce. You said it was Bruce choosing, not her.
Right. Well, yes, essentially. Like when she was, I think she might have been in a coma. Don't quote me on that part necessarily, but she was very much this or that. Those were her options, life or death. And it was Bruce that made the conscious decision to use his blood in her IV to give her, and like she woke up and he had to be like, listen, like I love you, and that's why I'm not gonna tell you what yet, but that's why I did it, because I love you. Like, let that bottom line. And she was like, bro, just tell me. And he had to tell her, my guy, like, you're a Hulk now. Yeah, you're a Hulk. Versus her, in the bar and the ladies and all that kind of stuff, and it just like happened. Like, it happening into her veins is a different choice than Bruce Sweetheart Banner, Mr. Natasha sang me lullabies, to, decide for her. And maybe in the feminist movement that is She-Hulk, giving that, not having that blame on Bruce, though I do feel like there will be a "this is your fault" moment coming up soon. Of course, it has to be. That's storybook 101. I think it would have been a more impactful thing had Bruce have forced her, or forced the choice on her.
Yeah. I think there's more conflict here. Well, there would have been conflict with that storyline as well, but this being they're both navigating this versus like Bruce would fully expect this to happen and knows how to go about it. Instead, it's, we're presented with a problem, let's both deal with it together.
I don't know, I kind of like the opposite of my cousin loved me so much that he did not want me to die, that he took this risk.
Yeah.
And he knows that Jennifer doesn't want to die. She's got so much ahead of her. So yeah, there is a little bit of, I'm going to be mad at you for not giving me a choice, but also thank you for allowing me to live. There is a little bit of that. And I feel like if I'm writing it, that's a stronger choice than I cut my wrist, oops a daisy. No, like it's softer. But I guess that's the drama versus the comedy aspect.
Yeah. But also knowing that, like that story of, Bruce made the decision to save his cousin. In the car wreck they were in, a lot of people sometimes don't survive accidents like that, and the entire time Bruce was yelling, like, stay away from my blood, I'm bleeding, stay away, stay away. What would have happened if she wasn't, like, well, they were in imminent danger, but, like, if she was severely hurt, would he have then still made that decision, or still have been saying, like, no, get away, I'd rather you not come in contact with me at all?
Well, Bruce has been around friends and family that have died, and he's never made that choice. But the difference in this episode is that Bruce didn't know what was going to happen. And the only reason in the comic books that he did it is because he did the research. He was like one of the doctors. So he knew that she would, in some level, survive. The difference in this series is he had no idea, and that's why he was telling everyone, stay away, I'm bleeding. Because he didn't know. She could have instantaneously died. And that's what the gamma rays do. They kill you.
Like she started with and then
But yeah, I this one has not made me question 1,000 things. But this is one of the first, if I'm not mistaken, well, no, I guess it was adult, child. And I say child, I know the new Hawkeye is 22. I think that she's an adult.
It felt more playful.
She felt playful. It felt juvenile. And I don't mean that as a negative or a derogative, it's just she seemed unseasoned. Whereas She-Hulk, she's a woman. Like I see her not as a young woman, but as a woman, someone with passions and goals.
Yeah. She well into her adulthood, has a career, and is well established. And yeah, she's, I think, the first superhero we're seeing like well into their 30s who like are established, whereas a lot of the
Yes, I know that Elizabeth Olsen is in her 30s, but
well, I mean starting point, because Elizabeth Olsen started
when she
Wanda started at like 17 years old because she was the child, like the kid for so long before Peter walked in. But yeah, it's nice. It's a nice, like, it's refreshing to see now like a full adult.
It's definitely a palette change.
Yeah.
You know, I love the juvenile nature of, and honestly, I like the order by which they're doing a lot of their shows. It's fun and it's fresh, and it gives me a chance to appreciate not only the shows that just happened, like Miss Marvel, this very youthful, fun, everything is bright and colorful, versus She-Hulk, which is very grounded, and that's kind of, and I get the pun of it being Hulk, but yeah, it's a very nurturing and grounded show about family, whereas Kamala was, I want to explore, I want to get out, I want to, go beyond family, even though family was like still holding on. So it's just a unique, I guess, interpretation of the same thing. Yeah, I mean, again, even Kamala Khan, she has this huge family structure, and there's this big scene between Jennifer and Bruce where she's like, what do you mean? Like, you hid away. You're not trying to find love or family or anything. You're isolated. And so that's a unique look too. Yeah.
And it's showing that it's okay to want those things. Regardless of, he kind of tried pushing the superhero agenda on her, and I think that was...
Who wants that? Who wants to... I do. But like...
that even with like comparing her to Kamala, the second Kamala got her powers, she also had that same mindset as Bruce, as I need to do good with this. I need to apply this to society and become a superhero. Whereas Jen was like, no, I'm still gonna go be a lawyer. I'm gonna be super in the way I know how to be super. I'm gonna help people
in the way that I want to be super.
Yeah, so
this is not a choice for me. I did not join and enlist, and I think that might be why we keep bringing up Captain America and why he's used throughout this, because Captain America did all his life want to be a hero, even when he was scrawny McSkinny boy. Like, he very much wanted to serve in the army. And he did everything possible, and of course he met Carter, and then but like his entire existence, whether being super or not, was to be a hero. Yeah. Whereas Jen, like you said, she wants to be a hero in the way that suits her, and why is that not enough? Why do women have to do the extraordinary to be extraordinary?
There you go.
That's my analysis of this.
Yeah, and with that opening, my last final comment, the opening comment she made, not comment, but the opening statement she made, where she's reciting how those with power should use that power like effectively, like they should feel responsible. She said it beautifully, but to sum it down, she essentially said, with great power comes great responsibility. And I feel that's basically what it was.
That's not what she was saying. She
said it in lawyer terms.
If that's what you got from it, okay, great.
That, among, other things.
Sure.
Which was the whole premise, which basically the beginning ended up tying to the ending, where she's saying, like, you have this power, you should do well with it.
You are contradicting yourself. You're contradicting yourself in my ears. Okay. Because in the prior sentence, you're saying, why do I have to be a superhero? But now you're saying, with great power comes great responsibility, so you should do it?
No, that's why I'm saying the beginning and the end ended up not complementing each other, but when they're...
Juxtaposing
each other, because she's making that statement. But then at the end, that statement is essentially kind of what Bruce is telling her. Like, you have this power now, you have to use it. But she is just saying, well, I'm going to use it, but I'm going to use it I'm gonna use the power I know I have and that I am accustomed to do what you want me to do, which is help others.
Right. And I think that's the difference. I think that we glorify what it means to be a superhero.
Yes.
And I think this show, hopefully, especially coming off of Kamala Khan, who was this big internet sensation, Miss Marvel, I think that this show, hopefully by the end, will help people realize that there is greatness in the little things as well as in the super things. And yeah, her being a super lawyer is important. A lawyer for superheroes, for the disenfranchised, for whatever, for people who have to get their cars repaired during alien explosions, all of these things. It's time we have one of those lawyer shows.
Yeah. So then what are you anticipating? Like let's set
Are you gonna judge me based on my answers because you already know what's gonna happen in the next 3 hours of this show?
I will not.
Okay, that was very convincing. Thank you.
No,
here are the things that I believe as a writer and what I would write this screenplay as. I believe, obviously, she's going to become a lawyer. She may even sign on her villain. She may become her villain's lawyer because of some X, Y, and Z. I don't know. Either because something happens with Bruce and he gets taken by that ship. I don't know. Bruce has got to get out of the picture somehow because she's got to find her inner superhero. So Bruce can't be there if she is going to be a superhero. So Bruce has got to disappear or be taken or kidnapped or somehow, because that's the mentor. You got to lose the mentor. I think that somehow she's going to have to team up with the villain. So that's going to be really important. I don't think that's actually the villain. I think she's just a person doing that. So those are my two big ones. Yeah, she also needs a sidekick. The sidekick needs to manifest. And I don't know if that's her friend, but right now the friend is just like a sassy friend. So I do need her to somehow manifest, whether it be a superhero sidekick / buddy or her human sidekick. I think that needs to develop a little bit more. That's what I would make sure I write if I was writing the script.
Nice.
I see you.
Yeah. No, I'm like, I can't respond to, I can't confirm nor deny any of those things.
Well, you can talk about how that would be interesting, or like, those are really unique points, Jasmine. I wonder if we'll see those.
Those are really unique points, Jasmine, and I wonder if we'll see those. I have strong feelings that perhaps careful. This is why I chose no words versus.
You did. You had it, and then you switched it up. It's fine. Anywho, guys, thank you for joining Earth 118. This was really fun for our first episode.
Wait. I stared at him this whole time.
Anywho, join us next time. Now that we have full power, reign, and facility over this, you will be hearing and seeing us, honestly, whenever Vivian's not working. So anytime and every time, we'll probably hop on a lot more. And if there are any episodes or shows that you guys want us to watch or critique, please let us know. Yeah, that's all I got.
Alrighty, we'll see you guys next week for episode 2 of She-Hulk.
Hasta pasta, friends. Bye.
Bye.
We are